I don't know. I need to grow 3 inches. I think that's got me. Anyway, this is part 3. The camera's in the cupboard. Best place to keep a camera. Part 3 of the old A67, A65 rebuild. This is a 1967. Not sure if I explained that. 1967 BSA Lightning twin carburetor A65 twin. I imagine this is filming the top of my head at the moment, so that's probably not going to work. But anyway, I've got everything a little bit sorted out here. Done a lot of tidying up, a lot of cleaning up, put everything away, put everything in shelves. I'm organising everything. I decided to start taking things apart, so I don't have any of the right tools, of course. I took the crank pinion off. This is the thing that drives the counter wheel, which drives the camshaft. These are always a bit of a swine to get off, but I always find actually that the wedge side of a screwdriver, I clamp them in with a vice grip, using cardboard of course, and then just gently tap in the wedge end of a screwdriver. So if you imagine using that wedge there, and then usually once you get a gap showing, then you can get something in there. There is a tool for the job, but of course I've never had one. I rebuilt probably 15 A65 motors, and I've never had the right tools for this. The other things I don't have the right tools, well, because they're all in Canada, is I don't have any any Whitworth wrenches. And of course this is 67, so everything is Whitworth or BSF, British Standard Fine, and I don't have any wrenches. So the best wrenches for Whitworth, other than Whitworth wrenches, are metric ones. They pretty much fit everything. Although, funnily enough, I did find this here, this 1532nd Taiwan, which fits on these, which are, I'm going to guess, because I know on the later ones they use UNC and UNF 5/16, so they're probably 5/16, whatever the Whitworth equivalent is. And it'll be British Standard Fine on this end, and probably Whitworth, which is the same almost as UNC on the other end. But anyway, it's the same. Metric wrenches are good. I got the camshaft off. Easy way to get the camshaft off is just undo the nut. I always clamp one of the cam lobes, and in this case what I did was I used a... Shut your ears, everybody. I used a pair of vice grips, clamp around there, but I sandwiched a piece of cardboard in between, so there's no chance of scoring. It shouldn't score anyway because it's hardened steel, but just to be on the safe side I always use a bit. If I had a bench vise, which I don't at the moment, I'd have probably used a piece of flat bar, clamped it in the vise, and then clamped it on that end. This says 66473. What does it say? 468,473. Don't know. Anyway, that's a Spitfire profile cam in surprisingly not bad condition. A little bit pitted here and there, but I'm probably going to polish it out. It's not actually pitched on the actual lobe itself, just a bit further down. And since it spins that way, it's on the trailing edge where the most of the pitting is, so I could probably get away with that. Oops. 22 sprocket. It's pretty done. I think I'm going to change it. It's hooked, as you can see. Not horribly. I could use it, but when I've got the engine apart, it's stupid not to. I took the rod bearings out. As I say, they were 40 thou under size. I've got 3 of them here because this is the one that was originally belonged in the bike, judging by the numbers, because it matches this one, which is 399, 387, and this is the replacement, which actually says 260. So I'm guessing that what happened was, because this is the drive side with a little hole in the that's the bleed hole for the oil. So it runs through the crank, and then that's the final place where it comes out. So there's a continual flow of oil through there. This is also, oh no, that's the drive side. This is the timing side, as you can see there. So this is the one that went. This is the one that's replacing it. That doesn't add up serial number wise, but never mind. That'll work. And the journals are good. The crank's over here. I've yet to get the sludge trap plug out. As I said, I don't have a bench vise, so that's locked. I've just drilled out the little divots the centre pot marks in there. So I just have to get the right tool. I'll make something. I'll find something that's hardish steel and contour it, and then you know, temper it in some way, and then drive it in there. That usually gets them out. I've never not got one out on clamps and BSAs. I've done loads of them, and they've all come out in the end. Started stripping the card off as well. This needle's taking a hammering, as you can see. It's a little bit out of alignment. I don't know if you can see it there. It was actually worse than that. What I'm going to try and do is heat it, and I'm going to straighten it. Just tap it straight, very gently. And then I have a trick where I use 2 pieces of wood, and I sandwich this. Even the notch for the clip, that's even bent as well. Kind of important to heat these, because if you don't heat them they just snap off. But I'm going to try, because they're 17 quid each, so if I can straighten that I will. And then I'm going to use, as I say, 2 pieces of wood, and I'm going to lightly sandwich this between the 2 pieces of wood and then spin it with a drill, and that gets them pretty straight. I've done it on Japanese bikes and I've never had a problem yet. It actually works wonderfully. So that's basically it. I'm going to take the gearbox out. The gearbox works, it's amazing. This shifts, everything does as it should. There's no nasty noises coming from it, which is amazing, because you look at the state of this selector fork here, it actually still works. The little forks themselves, they're springing in and out, which is amazing, because look at the state of it. A lot of this engine was like this, and I mean even the camshaft looked really ugly when it was in there, but it actually cleaned up. I haven't done a proper job of it. This is a new timing side bush here. It looks like it's undersized because there's a bit of a chamfer on there, so I'm guessing it probably is. And the easiest way to check is if the crank pinion doesn't go through, because this will fit through on a standard size bushing, but on an undersized bushing it won't, and it won't. So it's undersized, and I'm going to guess it's, I can only guess, I don't know, I'm going to have to measure it. And again, my microns is in Canada, but I'll take it out. The crank actually seems to fit, so I just tried it very gently just to make sure it would fit in, and it does. So it's a bronze one, I think. Pretty sure it's not brass, I'm pretty sure it's bronze. It has to be bronze, because if it's brass it's too soft. It's kind of brassish, but I'm pretty sure it's bronze. And I'm going to take it out. As you can see there, it's been tapped in badly. It was tapped in out of alignment, and it's sticking out proud. So the thrust washer won't fit in there as well, not properly, it won't locate properly, because this is sticking just beyond the space where the thrust washer is supposed to go in. I believe on the earlier A65s they had a much thicker flange and a slightly different casting, but this is a 67, so it should be different. So we'll see. If I have to, I'll either get that machine down to skim a bit off the outside hedge here, or I'll buy another one, but they're 70 quid each, and as I say, this is a not so much a restoration as a holy rag, I don't know, rejuvenation, bringing it back to life without going too nuts. I always find with A65s that as long as you can clean up the crank really nicely. I have a trick, as I said yesterday, where I polish the journals, and then I think as long as everything's really clean, as long as you flush up that stud strap with lots of solvent, lots of compressed air, get absolutely pristine, have all the journals really shined up, nice and clean. And I don't know if you can do it in Britain, but in Canada you can actually get the rods sized. So what you do, you take the rods, put the bolts back in, torque them up, not, yeah, 10-ish foot-pounds or whatever, and then what they do is they run a milling machine through it, and they just make sure that's completely circular, because often rods will get slightly distorted. I don't know if that's possible in Britain, and if it isn't, then I won't bother. Simple as that. If it was good enough before, it'll be good enough now. And I think, I always find with an engine that 95% of it is cleanliness. I had a bike that was the crankshaft was scored, and I was broke, and I remember polishing up the journals and putting new bearings in. It was a Triumph, 650 Bonneville actually. Polished up the journals, put new bearings in. I mean, it was scored, and I had to use emery cloth to get the sharpest of the ridges out. Polished up as best I could. I mean, it was pretty obvious it was scored. Put new bearings in, and I ran that bike for another 10,000 miles. The oil light used to flicker on when it was idling, but it may not have been 10,000, maybe it's 5,000. In the end, I did it properly. I think it got to the point where the oil light was on pretty much all the time, unless you were doing about 2,000 revs or more. So, but it didn't blow. It actually kept going. It's because it was clean. That's the main thing. Clean inside, clean oil. Those are the keys. So I'm going to do the engine first. That's the priority. Get the engine done. Just got a little cheaper bench grinder. I have no idea. 150 watts. Wow. I'll have to be careful with that one. Anyway, yeah, engine first. Once I've got the engine done, then I'm going to do the wheels and forks next, and then the frame, and then I'll start building it up. The seat I'm still not sure about. I'm looking for a price for a decent second-hand seat. I think that might be the way to go, but I'll see. Because my budget, well, I'm hoping I can get everything I need for this bike for less than I'm going to guess 700 quid. I doubt it, but it's worth a try. It's worth a go. I need drive side main bearing, the thrust washer that goes in there. I've got the bushing. I think that's okay. I've got the rod bearings. I need piston rings for it. Probably need valve guides. It'd be stupid not to. I've got valve seat cutters, so I can cut the valve seats and put the valve guides in. I need a seal set, a gasket set. And then as far as the bike goes itself, okay, yeah, rims. Well, I've got rims, I just need spokes. Lots of paint. Lots of time and elbow grease. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I could bring this in for less than 700 quid. We'll see. Anyway, thanks for watching again. So that was, as I said, that was part 3 of the A65 rebuild. I would like to try and film me actually doing stuff, because my methods are a little bit unorthodox sometimes. I'm not a savage, I'm very mechanically sympathetic, but without the right tools you have to just do whatever you can do while limiting the damage as much as you possibly can, just being very careful. So that's what I'm basically doing, because as I say, I've come here, we moved here, we bought this place a year ago, we came here a month ago, and the only tools I've got are ones I've scrounged up or bought, and they're a bit limited. It's pretty much my toolbox there and a few odds and ends. So it's going to be interesting to see how far I can get without the right stuff. One more little note: if you ever take these engine plates off, this is a very important note, put them back on again before you put the crankcases back together, because you'll never get the bolts in. It's a swine of a job, and that's the mistake everybody makes when they first rebuild an A65, is they take these bolts off, take the engine plates off, rebuild the engine, and then think, okay, how am I going to get the bolts back in to hold these plates back on? And you either can't, or it's extremely difficult. I don't think I ever managed to, but I think people have. I don't know how. So if you paint them up, paint up the crankcases, put these back on first before you put the crankcase halves together. Very, very important. I'd say it's the biggest cardinal rule of the A65, is make sure you get those rear engine plates back on. Anyway, I'm wittering on. Thanks for watching.